Hi family, welcome back. Thank you for being here and happy healthy hump day. Today we are doing the last video in our 5 areas of health series, which is the DRESS acronym for stress management. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you so much for your patience over the last couple weeks. We finally found a car, but we found it on Monday after long searching. If you follow me on social media, you'll know I've been searching every single day. So thank you for your patience. We finally found one. Yay! And if you guys have been participating since the hydration hacks video, I am choosing winners today. Stick around for the end of the video. I'm going to be posting your names on the screen as well as commenting back on the video or in the social media posts that you did. So thank you for participating in that. I also have a new giveaway, and this is just to say thank you. Really, I have a friend who is doing a yoga retreat out in Hawaii on the Big Island. It's actually at the farm property that we stayed at. We told you guys a couple years ago that we might be thinking about throwing a yoga retreat there together. We won't be doing it, but there will be the very first yoga retreat coming this July. And if that is something you're interested in, enter in to win by hitting like on this video, commenting below. Make sure you follow the Facebook pages down below and comment on the Facebook page that the Grateful Gordon sent you there. And yeah, look at in the information below. I'm gonna give you all of the instructions on how to enter to win. You're basically getting a free RYT training, and that is amazing because I think that the total cost is like 3 or 4 grand. You just have to get there, and then you get to stay at the beautiful place that we lived on the Hamakua coast. I thought that was like really cool. My friend said that he wanted to give one of those away, and I was super bummed that I couldn't be a part of it, but I'm hoping that one of you guys can. So on to stress management. This is a big one because stress is all in the mind. It's all in how our mind perceives and receives the experience that we're having or the thoughts that we're thinking. And so whether or not we're getting good sleep or getting good food, if we are in a stressed or an anxious state, it becomes really hard to function optimally and in a healthy manner. At the same time, the opposite is true. If you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you're not exercising well, your body becomes in an imbalanced state, which makes it much easier to be prone to stress and feeling anxious and all that. So everything goes hand in hand. That's why I've always said that at the beginning of the series, every single one of these areas are super important, and it's important to get them balanced together. Even if you're not perfect at all of them, try to have an equal balance across the board. So the first thing that I have is some active things that you can do to actually manage stress. I like active things because sometimes it's hard to just sit down, be still, and be calm. Sometimes you want to feel like you're actually solving a problem, and this is at least me. So one of the things that I like doing is getting active and being present. And sometimes it's just taking a walk. If something's stressing me out or overwhelming me, I'll take a break, take a walk, or just get down for a few minutes and stretch. I really love yoga. That's anchoring to me because in yoga practices, you are taught to breathe deep, you're taught to settle the mind and sort of get in with yourself. And so that's a really easy thing for me to turn to, especially if I don't have space or time to go for a walk. But anything that you can do right now to build that anchor in your mind to help you calm down and sort of soothe yourself right away. It could be gardening, it could be yoga, it could be just making yourself food. As long as you get present with what you're doing, meaning you're just focused on what you're doing rather than what you're stressed about, that's super helpful. If you like to be actively thinking like I do, sometimes reflection really helps. I like getting my journal out, and I will let myself free course to scribble down whatever I want, however I want to say it. It could be like, oh, I'm so upset, cuss word, you know, on the paper, but it allows me to let it all out and vent it without blowing up or like unloading that on somebody else. And then what I find really interesting that's natural is once it's all out and it's on paper, I'm able to read back at it and say, wow, that's kind of dramatic. Let me figure out something different, or let me find a solution, or how can I better reframe this story or change it? And sometimes it takes, like when I first started this, it took a long time. Like sometimes I could be scribbling for an hour or more before I really felt like I could really hear myself or be heard on the paper. I'm not sure if it will work for you, but it's worth giving a try. It's something that works really well for me, and it happens to be quicker and a more expedited, efficient process in the long run. Now, another thing is managing stress, which I like keeping lists. I utilize Trello, which is a list app. I also utilize all of the lists that come with the iPhone, the reminders list. I utilize reminders as well as calendars, and this really helps me keep things organized because I have so much going on, from business to family and all the other responsibilities that we have in the household. Now we're moving, there's like a ton of different things going on, and when you have employees and it's tax season, so it's really easy to get overwhelmed. And in being overwhelmed, even if you take a few tasks on at a time and you're like, oh, this is not stressful individually, if it starts to pile up in my mind, I have a tendency to get super overwhelmed and feel like my mind is scattered in 1,000 different directions. So just a little stress management tip: keeping lists is a really proactive thing for me to do. And if I do start feeling overwhelmed, sometimes I just take a moment and dump everything out on the piece of paper, and it's there for me to remember, and I don't have to swirl it around in my head all day. So some actual techniques that will get your body or your mind in a state of calm is obviously take some deep breaths. We talked about this in rest and relaxation, but one of my favorite things to do when I get really stressed in the moment is to just remove myself from the stress stimulus, whether it's work or even if it's the kids. Sometimes I might say to the kids, hey, mom needs to take a break, and it's a really good example to them to see that this is how a parent handles stress. And then what I want to do is actually make myself relax. So it sounds really weird, but I might actually just lay in bed, close my eyes, and then let my body just unlock and breathe really deep. And that has been super helpful for me because it resets the, you know, where your body's at. Even if you're in a hyper adrenaline state because you've been running around doing 1,000 different things, you can just take 1, 2 to 3 minutes, or even 10 or 15 if you feel like you need more, throughout the day to bring yourself back to that calm state. And what I noticed is it's kind of like when you're exercising. If you're trying to accelerate all day long, your mind gets in this really agitated beta or alpha state. Is it beta? I think it's beta state. Basically just super hyperactive mind, and it is pumping out a lot more stress. And for myself, what I noticed is just taking the moment to do this a few times throughout the day, even if it's for just a minute, makes a huge difference in my ability to have calm, clarity, and focus. So that has been super helpful. And then another thing is, if I feel like it's been a stressful day or I just need to reset entirely, I like to heighten all my senses in a calming way. So what I mean by this is we have our, you can call it 5 or 6 senses if you call it a spiritual sense, but I'm going to focus on the 5 physical senses, which is to use aromatherapy. I can smell lavender or chamomile or anything that might soothe or calm me down. I can taste or drink chamomile tea or warm green tea. If you guys like a little bit of hot cocoa, we like doing like Tisano chocolate tea and adding a little bit of sweetened almond milk in there. That's always really calming and soothing. I also like turning on soothing music. For me, that happens to be like Joseph Williams or some sort of beautiful piano piece. That's for calming, right? Because sometimes there's music that gets you really excited, but for calming, I have like a playlist just to relax. Then I might incorporate this with lying down, taking the deep breaths. You can also turn on candles, or if you like the colors, they have those color boards for stress relief, which I thought was really cool, as well as I really like my salt lamps. And some of the aromatherapy diffusers, like the one I have different colors that change, and those colors can be soothing to focus on. It also helps you get in the present if you don't want to garden or do anything physical. Sometimes just watching colors is a really fun thing to do while you're sipping on your chamomile tea and smelling your lavender aromatherapy. And then last but not least, I love self-massage, whether it's foam rolling or using any massage tools like we did that video on, or even taking a soothing bath. Just getting yourself in that physical state where you're actually relaxing will make a huge difference. And I think this is so important to practice these on a daily, weekly basis, because this taps your mind or tunes it into the ability to really quickly relieve it from stress, even if there's a lot of overwhelming things going on. And when you do this over time, it really makes a huge difference in how efficiently or quickly you can get out of that stress state or just soothe it. Even if you can't cure it completely, it's always better than putting yourself over the edge of anxiety. As you guys know, a little while back, I did that, put myself on the edge of anxiety, and while I had a really healthy perspective or state of mind, my body was in enough stress that I ended up having a panic or an anxiety attack just as a physical response because it wasn't getting all that it needs. So it's interesting how your mind and your body can work together, or they can work separately, but there are definitely two things that we need to keep in mind physically, and then of course I really believe that on a spiritual internal well-being, whatever that means to you, I think that's really super important too. But in this series we've talked about the 5 areas of health. I hope that all these videos have simplified that. As always, if you have any questions, stick them in the comments below or hit me up on social media. Make sure you hit thumbs up on this video if you liked this video, and if you did subscribe, thank you so much. Welcome to the family. Make sure you check out all the videos on the 5 areas of health because every single one of these areas are super, super important. Also, stick around. We're about to announce the winners of the hydration hacks video for the Infusion Pro water bottles. And if you want to get entered in on a free yoga retreat to get your RYT license, look in the caption below and how to enter. I'm super excited for that, and I'm so bummed I can't be there, but thank you guys so much for being here with me. I will see you guys on Friday. Ciao.